So for today's video, I am going to be telling you guys my American Girl doll collector community pet peeves. I have about 13 listed that I'm going to be talking about. Basically, these are my pet peeves that happen within the doll community. This can be on YouTube, Instagram, whatever. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first one we have is when collectors act like A-list celebrities on social media. It can be literally any platform. It's just like, we are not movie stars, right? Like, at the end of the day, regardless of our platforms and how many followers we have, we are just regular people who collect dolls. I think sometimes it can be taken a little too far, if you want to say. My second pet peeve is when people on AGIG specifically will post pictures of their dolls, right? But their doll's hair is like an absolute mess. And I understand if it's like a TLC doll or a childhood doll, maybe the doll's hair, yeah, is gonna be a little messy. But like, otherwise, if the doll's hair is just messy and like not in bad condition, like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know why that bothers me so much. Y'all know I like my dolls a certain way. I like to photograph my dolls a certain way. The idea of posting them looking a mess just bothers me. Like, I understand if people don't care. This isn't to like insult anybody. It's just my little like quirks, my little pet peeves. Number 3 is when collectors just feel entitled. I feel like, especially on AGIG, there's just like a certain entitlement that some people have, and it's like, again, we're doll collectors at the end of the day. Like, we are not that special. Like, I mean, we collect American Girl dolls, which is pretty cool, but like, especially as adults, like, what are we doing? Pet peeve number 4. Again, this is an AGIG specific one, but when there is drama like every other day or like every week about something so small that gets blown out of proportion. If you're on AGIG, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Especially as like grown adults. Like, again, like, come on y'all, like, we collect dolls. One example is like over aesthetics. Literally, people were fighting on their story posts about who stole the aesthetic first, or like who did the certain aesthetic on their page first. Like, one, who cares? Because it's a popular aesthetic. I think it was like when the coquette thing was like, you know, starting out to be big on AGIG. It's like, at the end of the day, everybody's doing it. Who really cares who started it first? Like, if anything, people were probably posting it like outside of AGIG anyway, so like, it's a trend. Like, that's gonna happen. And I'm just like, again, as adults, y'all are really spending the time and energy to argue about who started posting coquette pictures first. 5th pet peeve, and again, if you follow me on AGIG, I've talked about this 1,001 times before, but the continuous slander of Yvette. I understand that there was a certain way that Yvette was like meant to look like. You know, she was supposed to have a little bit darker skin tone, her hair was supposed to be brown, and her eyes were supposed to be brown too. However, there are people who look like Yvette, and there are people like myself who have her skin tone and her hair texture. Even though it's not the same color as my hair, I don't care. Just to have that representation in any way was a great thing, especially because there had never been representation with her exact hair texture before. So her skin tone. Like, I understand people wanted her to be darker, whatever, but there is no, like, she is, I think, like the lightest skin tone we've had in terms of it being like a mixed race doll or African American doll. And I think people don't understand that either, where it's like, if you're not on the lighter skin tone like myself, this is the first doll with that exact skin tone we've had. The only other representation we've had is like number 26, who has like a more medium tone, and then we've had Addie's skin tone. There has never been another lighter skin tone other than like Yvette in terms of like representation of black people, because at the end of the day, whether you're mixed or not, guess what? There's different skin tones. Like, we all don't look the same. It's like the disrespect that Yvette got when there's people who look like her, who are mixed. There's people who aren't mixed, who look like her, like, who are black. Like, it's just, it's crazy, and the fact that it still happens, I'm like, are y'all okay? It's like, do y'all live under a rock? Do you not go outside? People assume because you're mixed black and white, you have to look a certain way, and you can only look that one way. Pet peeve number 6 is when people pick and choose, and again, this is on AGIG, when people pick and choose issues that are worth canceling people over. There was a specific instance of this back in 2021. It was an instance of racism. I don't want to get into it too much. This was back when like the George Floyd issue was still very much a thing, and like this girl was dating a cop. She was young. She was younger than me, so she was probably like 19, 18 at the time. So I had commented on one of her story posts, and she told me that racism can be avoided. Black people just have to act a certain way, know their place. Talking to a black person, I was kindly trying to educate her, and then she had to be rude. So then obviously you have to clap back a little bit. People canceled her, but then her friends like stood up for her, and I'm like, how do you manage to do that when they're being like blatantly racist, justifying it by saying you're 2% like a different race that wasn't even associated with what everybody was talking about? I don't know. I feel like people pick and choose what's worth like canceling people over. Like I think now maybe it's a little better. There's issues of racism that just get like looked over, whereas like transphobia, homophobia, which is obviously really bad, but like that doesn't get, I feel like the treatment is different, and that's unfortunate because it should all be kind of treated the same way, like it's all bad. Pet peeve number 7, and this is more towards like a YouTube thing. Post a YouTube video and people will pick at anything and everything. I think people don't realize that as content creators, again, I do this for fun. This is not like a professional job, so obviously like there are gonna be times where my videos aren't perfect. There's times where my videos are gonna be shaky. I feel like sometimes people forget that like we're collectors doing this for fun, and so they'll almost like not make demands, but like kind of make demands. Expect too much. Like we are just people. We are people with lives. Next one, which is number 8, is kind of along the lines where like if I'm making a video at American Girl of like new displays and stuff, and people are like, oh well, you should have done this, or you should have done that, or that clip should have been longer. But I think for me, the thing is I'm trying not to get children in the video. You know, American Girl, it's very hard. There's like kids everywhere, so obviously I'm not gonna like, you know, potentially show somebody's face on camera. People forget that like not everybody's comfortable filming in public. I know that, again, like we make content, but like we have our anxieties still. If you don't make content of any kind, you kind of just don't know how that is. Number 9 on my pet peeves list is another YouTube pet peeve, and this one drives me absolutely crazy. When you're making a video and you're showing products, clothing, whatever, and somebody asks you where you got it as if you didn't say it in the video. Like, do y'all not listen? I'm usually pretty nice about it, and like I'll comment where the item's from anyway. I literally said it in the video. Pet peeve number 10 is when people attack you for who you have or don't have in your collection. Somebody who posts on AGIG has like all of one race. Like if they have, let's say, all white dolls, and somebody's like, oh, you don't have any black dolls, but then it's not necessarily like them being racist. Now there are times where it is. Like we don't fully know, like unless somebody is like blatantly racist, we don't necessarily know what their mindset is behind their dolls and like who they have and who they don't have. I mean, unless they like blatantly come out and say it, it's really hard to tell. So like I've seen people get attacked on AGIG who like didn't deserve to be attacked. So we are nearing the end of my list. So pet peeve number 11, and this happened to me recently, when Black American Girl doll collectors feel the need to let you know that you should only have black dolls because they do. I'm sorry, what? Like, I think if anything, me having a mixed collection is better than just all one thing. Like, if that's your thing, if you're a black collector and you only like black dolls, that's fine, but like, don't attack me for not having the same view as you. It was literally a grown woman. Do you have anything else to do? Like, I don't know. Like, she was at least maybe 40. Like, I'm only 26, y'all. Pet peeve number 12. And this is an easy one, and I think something that a lot of people on AGIG feel, and that is that AGIG feels really cliquey sometimes. Like, it feels like we're in high school. Because just watching what goes on, watching kind of like the friend group sometimes, not everybody, but like some friend groups, and like especially if they get on live, it is like a click. And I try so hard to like stay away from that. One, because I don't have time to be on AGIG all the time like that anymore, but like, I don't know. I never liked cliques like that. There's regular friend groups, but then there's those friend groups that you just know talk about people. The last pet peeve I have for you guys today, I know a lot of people are guilty of this, so like, don't get mad at me, but at the same time, like, it's just wild every time I see it. When non-black collectors give their black dolls like these wild, eccentric, like ethnic names. I don't even have an example, but like, I have a very stereotypical white name, right? But I feel like people don't give their black dolls, and not that you have to, but it's just like, I will see white collectors post the most eccentric names for their dolls, their black dolls. It happens so much, and I think if you're not like a person of color, you don't necessarily like see it. Some of the names are popular, right? Like, they're popular, they're used a lot for people, and that's fine. But like, I just see people come up with the most random things. And it's like, but why did you choose to name your black doll that, but you wouldn't name your white doll that? You know what I'm saying? Like, those kind of names. I don't know. Definitely make sure to comment down below what some of y'all's pet peeves are in the doll community, whether it's things you've seen on YouTube, Facebook groups, or AGIG. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you guys can stay up to date when I post a new video every Friday. Also, make sure to follow me on my AGIG so you can see pictures of some of my dolls. And Miss Dakota here. And yeah, bye guys.